I've been running every day for 5 years. I started my running streak on December 23rd, 2019. In this video, I'm going to share with you just how much I have improved as a runner. Not just how much my times have improved, but also how I've improved as a person. Now, before we begin, let me just give you a little bit of background to my athletic history. It's important that you know that when I started my running streak, I wasn't starting from zero. I had been training fairly consistently, but most of my training had been cycling or swimming. My approach to running was inconsistent at best, but I had still been doing a fair amount of it, so I wasn't starting from completely nothing. I also had a smaller family, just one child, which meant that I had a little bit more time on my hands, and it was 5 years ago, so I was a lot younger and less creaky than I am now. So let's talk about what running I've done over the past 5 years, what my typical training looks like, and those quantifiable numbers, just how much have my times improved with 5 years of daily running. So firstly, what kind of running do I do? Well, a little bit of everything. I don't tend to stick on one fixed distance for too long. And over the course of my running streak, when I really felt like I was becoming a runner, I've done everything from 5k park runs all the way up to ultra marathons. And I ventured slightly away from the running sphere as well, into obstacle course races and also duathlons too. And when I'm really struggling for motivation, there's nothing like a bit of a self-imposed challenge. For example, running 50k around a supermarket, or taking on David Goggins's 4x4x48 challenge.
Done. Oh man, am I looking forward to just plain water and sleep.
Now, what I found this has done for me is just kept me motivated over the years. I think if I was only ever focusing on one specific distance, marathons or 5Ks, for me, I would get bored. My training would get a bit stale. So by moving through the distances, changing things up, that's just managed to keep me fresh and motivated and has kept my running streak on track. So, training for ultramarathons, I must be running hundreds of miles a month, surely. Well, actually, not so much. How much do I train? Comparatively to other runners, not much at all. I was looking back through my Strava history over the past couple of years, and if I just focus on this last year specifically, I've averaged just under 4 hours of running a week. And that is over an average of 7 or 8 runs. So 1 run a day, 4 hours, and an average distance of about 45k. Sometimes more, sometimes less, but averaging around 45k. Now, for some people, that might seem like quite a lot, and it is, but for other runners, that's actually quite low volume and not very high mileage at all, particularly if you're looking at running good times for half marathons, marathons, and ultras. Now, my approach has always been to target 3 or 4 proper runs each week. So a proper session, which would be kind of over 30 minutes long. The rest of the week is really simple. I do my daily mile and I do it very slowly, but it keeps the streak alive. And more importantly, I feel it stopped me from suffering any major injuries over the 5 years of my running streak. So what does a typical week look like? Well, usually Monday is an easy mile. Tuesday will be anything from 30 to 45 minutes. Same for Wednesday and Thursday, and maybe an easy mile again on the Friday. And at the weekend, like most of us, that's when I've got most of my time. So I go into full-on weekend warrior mode, and I usually do 2 back-to-back harder runs. A medium run on a Saturday, and then a longer run on a Sunday. Is it ideal? No. Does it fit with my lifestyle? Yes. And that makes it repeatable over time. Now, this is an approach that I've used successfully over the past couple of years, and in particular in my last marathon training block is what I was able to do in order to be able to stay on top of the weekly marathon mileage, and it worked quite successfully. I ended up running a really good time, not a PB, but a respectable time nonetheless for the amount of training that I was able to put in. So now we've mentioned marathons and we've mentioned times. How much actually have I improved over the past 5 years? And is it worth it? Well, the worth it part we'll come back to in a little bit, because there's two answers to the question, how have I improved? The quantifiable is what we'll start with. My times. My marathon time at the start of my 5-year running streak was around about a 3 hour 45. I distinctly remember going out with my friend Dave and saying, I want to run a marathon that is just a marathon. I want to train a little bit for it and just run it and see how fast I can do. And I did a respectable 3 hours 45. Now, over the years, I've been able to bring that time down. 2 years ago, I set my marathon PB of 3 hours 19. The other week, I ran my last marathon, my 9th marathon, in a time of 3 hours 26. So not too far away from that 3 hour 19 personal best. Do I think I've got a bit more in me in the marathon? Yeah, absolutely. And it's something that I'll be aiming for in the new year. But at the moment, I'm quite happy with the progression from a 3 hour 45 marathon down to a 3 hour 19. Now, across the other distances, I've hit PBs in all of those distances as well. I've run sub 20 minutes for 5k, sub 40 for 10k, and I've broken the 90-minute mark for the half marathon on 2 occasions. Again, in running terms, they are respectable times. Now, could I go out and run those times tomorrow? Probably not, but because of the consistent approach to my training, I never feel like I am too far away from achieving those personal best times. And I think that comes from the consistency that I have week in, week out. Regardless of what I'm training for, whether that's a marathon or a 5k, my weekly mileage is always going to be roughly in the 45k mark. So that's always a really good platform to either build more endurance on or to add in some more speed work. So that's the quantifiable, how much my times have improved. And that's probably what most people are interested in. But there's another aspect to this as well. How have I improved over the past 5 years as a daily runner? Well, that's where the difference can't really be measured in numbers on Strava or the races that I've entered or the different events that I have done. But actually, how I feel about myself has improved immeasurably because of my daily running streak. It gives me purpose, it gives me focus, it gives me time to go out on my own and think and go through things that I might be worrying about or struggling with, or just giving yourself a little bit of a breather and a bit of headspace and getting some fresh air. It's always a positive experience. Even when I'm tired and even when I don't really want to, I have never come back and regretted doing a run. I also really like how physically in myself, I'm a much more comfortable runner now. 5 years ago, I would struggle to go out for a run and hold a conversation, but now I'm able to easily go out with my friends, in particular one friend who is a very accomplished runner, and we can run and chat casually and it doesn't get me winded and doesn't get me out of breath. That was a real breakthrough, and it's hard to kind of put that down as a quantifiable measure, but being able to run and converse at the same time is a really beautiful thing, and you'll know it when you're able to do it. I definitely think that building those consistent daily runs has helped me become a much more comfortable runner at those sorts of paces. So, what do I think you should do? Should you run every day? In my opinion, yeah, I think so. I know it's not for everyone, and I know it's not going to be something that everyone thinks is a good thing, but actually 10 minutes at an easy pace, if you're already consistently training, and even if you're not, is very, very achievable. Now, I'm not suggesting that you run through injuries. I'm not suggesting that you run through family emergencies. Although I did go for a run both mornings that my wife had my 2 children. I'm not suggesting that you go for a run during a family emergency. But if you are able to, physically and mentally, why wouldn't you? Because there are lots of people that physically and mentally can't. So if you have that opportunity, I think it's a shame to let it go, because there's going to be a point in time when you can't do it anymore. And that's also why this YouTube channel, recording these vlogs, recording these running journeys is so important as well. Because I know there's going to be a time when I'm not able to do obstacle races or ride up mountains or run marathons at the paces I'm running now. And it's going to be a real pleasure to look back on some of those memories and some of those moments and go, yeah, I was there, I did that. So for as long as I can, I will keep running every single day until I can't.